What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video, and welcome to breakfast with me this morning. Got my plate here, but there's some life events that have happened recently, and I wanted to share them with you, and I figured, why make it formal? Let's make it a little informal and just chit-chat this morning. So let's get started. I'm going to tell you what's going on. Now, you can't see this, obviously. I can, because I'm the one that set it up. But I tried just putting my phone on the table propped up against the bottle of barbecue sauce that's on our table. It was a little low. So you are sitting on top of my wallet propped up against the barbecue sauce jar. Morning brought to you by Freshka. And if you've never had Freshka, it's a sparkling soda water. It's very good. It's a Coke product, so highly recommend. So, as you guys know, and for those of you who already know this, feel free. I will try to put in a timestamp of where to go to if you don't want to rehash this with me. So, for those of you who don't know, back in 2023, my husband started having a little bit of medical problems. And by a little bit, we mean a lot of it. We were in and out of the hospital right towards the end of the school year. So this started happening mid-May, mid-April, beginning of May. So, in and out of the hospital, I literally had used every bit of personal time I had. Sam had used up all of his. We finally, the week before the last week of school, Sam woke up on a Sunday morning, said, I can't see. Took him to the ER here in town. We were admitted overnight, really didn't do anything except for give him fluids, didn't do any type of scans, nothing. Still not very happy about that. His job where he worked at the time said, okay, take the rest of the week off and try to rest, figure out what's going on. So the following Monday, which is the last week of school, he gets up and he can't even stand. I'm like, there's no way. And insert expletives here, because at this point I'm really pissed because no one is doing anything locally. I said, get your butt in the car. We're going to the VA. And at this point, Sam couldn't walk without assistance. So we go to the VA. They end up admitting him into ICU for 2 days. Or 3 days. We were in outpatient, which was the old nursing home, for a day. Which, side note, one of the students that I had's brother goes, Miss Lena, you're old. You belong in a nursing home. So I literally had to text his mom a picture and go, look, I'm staying the night in a nursing home. Predictions come true sometimes here. But he was not, like, his strength was bad, his walk was bad. He ended up doing physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech and brain development therapy. And what the papers that, because we were able to do all this therapy over in Marion because they have a wonderful outpatient therapy area that works with the VA. I will say that they laugh because we're not there anymore. They need me to come back, because they'd come up and be like, Lena, Sam only has one visit left, and we've been faxing them for like a week. Would you mind calling somebody? And I get on the phone, I'm like, now look here. What is going on? Like within 30 minutes, they had the referrals and paperwork that they needed. So they say they missed that. I'm like, I will get this taken care of. I will get this done, because no one's playing here. So obviously Sam couldn't go back to the industrial job that he had been doing for years. The sad part is that he really did enjoy it, but some of the things that were going on where he was working, he wasn't agreeing with the policies and things. So Sam ended up applying for and being hired by the special education co-op where I was already working. He started out at the middle school, which I will never understand why you put someone who's walking with a cane in a middle school that has stairs. I just work there. And he worked there up until Christmas. Now remember, this is the Christmas I ended up with COVID right before our cruise. And then after Christmas, he went to Oasis, which is the day school that is severe behavioral problems. Well, then last year, he started out there as a teacher. Him and the person in charge just did not click, did not mesh. It was making his life literally hell. So literally like the beginning of October of last school year, Sam was like, I'm done, I'm out. So on a Friday, I am signing out of school at lunch and literally heading next door to go help Sam tear down his classroom that we had spent all last summer putting together. And I will tell you, it was heartbreaking for me and for him because he had put so much time and thought and love and care into the lesson plans that he had ready for these kids. So he had a couple weeks off and he became a para at the elementary school. He was assigned to K1 but worked K1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. He kind of ended up floating, and honestly, the younger kids just weren't for him. But last summer, Sam applied for work through Team Employment. It's a part-time, on-call hiring agency that helps you find like temporary placement work. And they placed him, and this is over in McPherson. So because I will admit, Sam applied for places around here locally, but the place that he had worked prior kind of spread some bad rumors about him that took a while to like get rid of. Still a little salty about that too. But he went to Team Employment. They placed him at an industrial factory job again called Femco in McPherson. And they were so happy with him. He enjoyed it so much. And one day I'm sitting on the couch here at home last summer and he calls me, he goes, "Hey, I'm on my way home." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong?" What's going? He's like, "Oh, nothing's wrong. It's too hot." And I go, "What do you mean?" Like, "Yeah, it's too hot. It's summer. What are you talking about?" Well, apparently Femco, if it's at a certain degree by lunch, releases everyone to come home with pay. I know, right? This is like a little, this is so different than where he had worked before, where, he was there, ice, sleet, snow, deathly hot heat. They're like, they all last summer, they're like, "Hey, you want to come work full time?" And Sam's like, "I've signed a contract. I really can't. I'd love to, but I can't. I'm going to be working as a teacher." Like, "Oh, that's awesome. Well, hey, anytime you have a break, you feel free to come over here and work." So he worked over spring break. So that was what he did over spring break. And then they're like, "You're coming back for the summer, right?" And they're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah." So literally we got out of school on a Friday. We had, and then the following Monday, Sam started work. The following weekend, he was out like all week with a sinus infection. But he started work that Monday. And they were like, "Hey, are you sure you don't want to come work here full time?" And Sam's like, "No, I've already said I'm going back to the school." So fast forward to this last Monday, the Monday after the 4th of July. They came to him and said, "Look, we really want you to stay. We're going to pay you X amount an hour. And in 90 days, we will give you a raise. Would you please stay?" So, it must be something on my screen. Okay. So I get a phone call or get a text around 8:30, 9:30. And, Sam's like, "Hey, we need to talk." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on? What's wrong? What's happened?" He's like, "Nothing's wrong. We just need to talk." And I'm like, "Well, okay, if you're not busy, I'm not." I'm like, "You know what I'm doing here." So he's like, "Hey, they've offered me this full time. I know one of the things that was concerning was the weather, but they've got a weather protocol in place because there's only like 2 or 3 people that live in McPherson. Everyone else lives like outer line." So they always have to be thinking about like the safety of their employees getting home. So I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, you go for it. So officially, as of whatever that last Monday was, I'll put that here. Sam is working full time at Femco. He is working in metal grinding, making, I call them loops for grasshopper mowers. And he is so happy. He comes home grungy and dirty and absolutely thrilled because that's just the type of person that he is. One of the things I asked him, I said, "Oh, well, we've got vacation planned over Christmas." He's like, "Well, that's not going to be a problem." I went, "Oh, will you have enough PTO?" And he goes, "It doesn't matter. Femco closes for the week of Christmas." And I went, "Excuse me, what?" He's like, "Yeah, it's closed without like, there's like a couple of days that are paid, but if you want paid on the other days, you use time off." And I said, "So you're telling me that I am off for Christmas break from the school. You are off from work because they closed the shop so that people can be with their families. You get a little bit of pay for some of those days. I get a little pay for some of those days, and it doesn't affect our Christmas vacation." And he goes, "That's pretty much the long and the short of it." I'm like, okay. And then I literally start to cry because I don't know if anyone realizes teacher pay is very different than paraprofessional pay. Teachers are under a contract. We are going to give you X amount of lump sum to teach for this school year. Do you want it in 12 months, spread it in 12 months, or do you want it not the 9 months of the school year, bigger amount? As a para, I am technically hourly. If I'm not putting eyeballs on a student, I'm not paid. So today is July 14th. I have not been eyeball to eyeball with a student since May 16th at 12:01 when I put my 5th grader on the school bus and bawled. And so I got a check in June because that was my pay from May. But July, I do not receive a check. Typically in August, I do not receive a check. And I'll explain that in a minute. September, I get a very small check. My checks really don't amount to a hill of beans until October. So I get a paycheck, or a paycheck that actually like has something substantial to it. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. Now, depending on how the pay period falls and when we go out, when my school gets out, July, sometimes I'll have a couple $100s. Now, back to August. Over spring break of last school year, spring break, mind you, and this is separate from Sam's Life Update, so let me stop here. So Sam is now working full-time at Femco. Okay, this is great because over the summer, we don't draw a paycheck. Sam's Femco check is the only check that we have to worry about. We were very stressed about the month of September because we don't get a really good check in September. It barely covers bills. Last year we were okay because Sam got student loan money, but you really don't want to be living off of student loan money. So why I started to bawl is because I feel like we have turned this weird shaped corner where the school helped Sam in his recovery and now he can go back to the job that he loves. And I feel like we all can breathe again because he will still be getting a check in August and September where we weren't going to be getting checks in those months because we went back to school. So once Sam acknowledged that I was okay with this, which I was like, you make the decision, it's fine. If I know that you can navigate the roads safely, knowing that they have a weather policy in place makes it better. We learned about that back in March because it started to get a little iffy in McPherson, and they sent everybody home when he was working on spring break. So, Anyway, Sam is now working at Femco full time. I will be starting back in at the school in under like 20 days because my first back to school training is August the 5th. The reason I actually get a check in August this year goes back to spring break. We got our back to school training dates in over spring break, and I'm like, we haven't even finished the school year. Can I at least enjoy, like, not be like dreading like after summer yet? And by dreading, I mean it's not a bad thing. It's just it don't take my words incorrectly here. I don't dread it, but the days can become very long depending on the behaviors that I will end up with. But the Monday after school got out, we get an email that we were going to be getting our back to school training videos that week. And so we would be paid for them in August, as long as they were done by the 20th of July. And mine were done last Monday, the same Monday that Sam took his new job. So I am clear that Sam put in his resignation, which the funnier part about that is the Paris facilitator sent an email asking if he would be okay moving to 4-5 instead of working 2-3 because there's so many kids in those grades this year. And I'm going, yeah, kind of everything happened on one day. So he was emailing back and forth with her, and he's like, do you want me to, I've already done part of the training. He hadn't done the autism training yet. And they're like, no, it's okay, but we will go ahead and pay you for the training that you did do. So, which I thought was really nice. So, leave Sam some positive comments down below, because I know we're all really excited that coming off of such a weird medical situation, that he is able to go back and do the job that he loves. So that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry it was a little rambly, but felt like it was just like a chit chat video. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Great day.